Yo, what's good, everybody? Happy Friday. It's Feedback Friday. Feedback Friday. And I'm back in the house. Yay! Of course, I should note the obvious caveat here that there will be some missing streams again next week because of holiday activities and such. But otherwise, we are back in action as normal. And I've as mentioned previously, before disappearing for a whole month during the poop-pocalypse, we'll be making some adjustments to the streaming schedule in 2025. So it'll be in your favor. It's not like you're missing out or losing anything in this, I don't think. Oh, Tom is here. Yes. Syndremic back in my own house, right? Right before Christmas, Tom. Yeah, the poop-pocalypse of 2024. Believe it or not, the city folks are still out there working. They're still out there getting stuff done. We've been back in our house for a bit now, and very, very grateful and thankful for that. It's been a lot. It's just been a lot. Okay, so quick updates. Again, next week, there's not going to be streams next week because of the holiday, and then we'll be returning. Still catching up from being out and gone, so if you've got like pending messages with me and I haven't responded, I will. If you have been waiting to get in for sessions and training, we'll get there. Everybody's in the queue. So I think that's all of the disclaimer stuff that we've got at the top of the show this time. Before we jump into listening to what you guys have been up to, I want to clue you into an awesome new channel, and you guys can be the folks that were there first. I'm going to scroll up here to get the link. But our friend Tom, aka Masters by Iggy, aka Echo Forge Studio, has put together a new channel, and he's shared a couple clips here already.
Welcome to Echo Forge in part 2 of a tip and trick.
But we're going to watch a couple of these, and I think it's a really good channel, and not just because I love Tom, but because I know all the stuff, or the potential stuff, bubbling up there in his brain that he can kind of demystify for people in a really like clear and succinct way, which is not easily done by most folks. So anyway, just putting out there that this channel here is going to be fantastic. I'm going to put a link to this. I'm going to back up one page here. I'm going to drop the actual link to the channel in our chat here. Oh, absolutely, Tom. Absolutely. Everybody who's here, go click that thing. Go click that link and subscribe. There are a couple of videos up here. I think his intention
Liberty Mutual
is to
customized my car insurance, so I saved hundreds. With the money
Liberty.
I saved, I thought I'd get a wax figure of myself.
Liberty.
Welcome to Echo.
I think his intention is to keep these fairly bite-size, right? And the topics and intention kind of range from demystification and like deep dives to understand something on a technical level in a way that's easily digestible, to creative how-tos and inspiration for plugins that a lot of us already have. And we don't need to go shopping for more toys, but we can find really awesome ways to get more out of those toys that we already have. So anyway, Tom, I think, is the guy to help you here. Ooh, yeah, and he says the next video is going to be about upward compression, which is a hack in and of itself. Bubble Miles, welcome in. So hey, before we jump in, let's watch a little bit about glue compression and listen to Tom's voice. He'll set the mood for us, and then we can listen to some music here.
In part 2 of a tip and trick series is understanding bus compression. Let's hear a little comparison first.
Go subscribe.
From the first example, we definitely hear a change of sound, like as if the track was more glued together. The glue is basically bus compression. It is used to get a sum of tracks sounding cohesive. These compressors are normally found on master buses, but they can also be found on instrument summing buses. Before we get into some demos, here are a few examples of bus compressors, starting with the classics such as the SSL G bus compressor, the API 2500, and the Fairchild 670. And a few more current bus compressors such as the Bettermaker bus compressor, the Shadow Hills mastering compressor, and the modern equivalents to the G-Bus comp, the Bus Plus. Let's go through 2 different bus compressor settings that I use on a day-to-day basis. I named them pump compression and transient shaping. Let's start with the first one, pump compression. For this setting, we need the slowest attack and the fastest release. This allows for the bus track to have some form of pumping to accentuate rooms and tails. Let's see what it does to the drums in this drum. These are the general settings I start with in this API 2500 inspired compressor. I often use these settings in drum buses at around -3 dB of gain reduction. You can also use this setting on master buses as well, but with less gain reduction of around -1 dB. Let's hear the difference in this example. Let's get on to the next setting, transient shaping. You need a slow enough attack to allow for transients and an auto release. This allows for the tracks to have some collective sustained suppression besides the transient. I use this setting very often on master buses at around -1 dB of gain reduction. The compressors I like to use on this is the SSL bus compressor and the API 2500. In the next example, you'll see that every plugin emulation or hardware emulation sounds different. It is a matter of their intended use and taste. There isn't a right or wrong choice. Let's take a listen to them. Lastly, you can also use both in succession as well. I personally like doing a little pump compression after transient shaping. Here's an example of me adding both in succession one by one so you can hear the difference. At the end of the day, there is no real rules to compression. It's only the desired sound you're looking for, and understanding the processes to get there. Try these settings out, experiment, and ask any questions in the comments. If you find these videos useful, I would appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button. Thank you once again, and peace out.
See? Dope, right? Okay, so I just sent Tom out of the room on a quick errand, so he can't hear us right now. And I don't think he's ever really going to say this out loud to you guys. But I think he's available to be booked, right? So, like, if you want to understand these things in a much deeper level, right? To a much deeper degree, and in the context of your own work, I think that can be arranged in private sessions. But yeah, he's a humble dude, so I don't think he kind of shouts those things out for people to hear. Anyway, when he comes back, he's going to have a pack picked out for everyone, and then you guys are going to get that pack. So we're going to do that. Sav says, nice work on the video, right? Yeah, totally. He's got another one out right now, and he's got another one in the queue. So focuses on quality here, for sure. All right, so yeah, right? Good quality stuff. I'm going to flip over to ye old Discord and see what we can find in the public feedback. Ooh, connected, first in line today. Ooh. Connected, that is what his forte is. Yeah, I would say for the type of stuff that you do, that might be good alignment. Reach out to him. Reach out to him. Send him a DM. See what your schedules are like. But yeah, I think that would probably be a good fit. All right, so let me get my my notepad ready. Ambient glitch textures. Ooh. Okay, hold on a second, everyone. We're going to do two things really quick. We're going to go over here, and we're going to say, let's see, glitch texture. Oh, that's right here. I'm going to play this for you. And while this is playing, I'm going to go find this pack and upload it. And then you guys can have it. Cool. Ooh, yeah. This would be the one right here. Let me just go over to this other place over here. Bear with me. There it is. Some weird stuff in here. This pack should probably be served with a warning. Yeah, glitchy, glitchy, glitchy. Tom, getting used to hearing yourself talk is something. Almost done uploading. Okie dokie. I've got a link. Okay, look at that. In the amount of time that it took to listen to the demo, we've got it out. An artisanal glitch bakery. That's... You got a loaf full of weird nuts and seeds that you've never heard of. That's what you bought at this bakery. That's a funny analogy, Tom. So Connected, this is where we were. We were about to listen to Connected. I'm going to try and spam the chat periodically with that link. Saf has just shared a link to some stuff with that type of noise. Saf has done some sessions with me. Gosh, for how many years now? It's been a while, right? Like it's been, I want to say like several years now, maybe, right? Connected, you are welcome. You are welcome. Shall we listen to you? I think we should do that. Ooh, Saf, that link is making me want to click on it. All right. This one's called Samadhi. Check out this art, by the way. Yeah. This is one of those that that would get kind of stuck on repeat in a lot of people's playlists, I think. It's got a lot of really good balance in all the right places. So I think it's just going to make people feel all sorts of things. So, number one, just love the explorative panning. I feel like that is half of the effect of the song, right? Because the rhythm at which everything is occurring and the depth of the modulation and the panning are very much in sync and aligned. So, translates really, really well. Um, Clicks are super ace, just right over the top, very dry. So you've got a couple of things happening here. There's, I believe, some pages turning, some Foley, and then there's also some synthetic modulation happening as well. And I think, if I'm right, that there are pages turning, then yeah, I bring that element specifically up a bit because the organic uh, brings this level of like comfort in music like this, right? Make it a little more comfy. 122. You can use a delay, and this can even be a stack delay scenario. So follow me here. Let's say you've got 3 different delay plugins loaded on your kick drum track, or an aux coming off of your kick drum track. Okay. And those 3 different delays, they're not going to run simultaneously, right? But each one is dialed in at a specific setting that you find to be especially choice for a specific moment in your track, not for the whole track, but as like a sound effect, like almost as a stinger almost, right? Something that can trail behind the kick after one hit, that exists as just something that's splashed into the mix. It's ephemeral. It doesn't happen again. Um, maybe one of them is rapid, maybe one of them is actually triplets or something that, make them interesting, but don't make them dominant or anything. They're going to be subtle little things. And then just automate them automate their existence into like a couple of few choice spots in the entire mix. And something like that can really, really add like this kind of phenomenal kind of feeling. Because it doesn't recur, yet it is this main stage player, right, in the mix. So love the use of Foley and sound design in general just to drive the story, and appreciating the balance of the palette for sure. The subs are tickling just a little bit. I don't know that I would advise rolling up the frequency, the cutoff on this one, because I actually like the way that the rumble is sitting, where it's sitting. I feel like you've done a really good job with that, but I do think it is just a little bit loud, the sub channel. So bring that down just a little bit. Really, really enjoyed this track. Just want to say that one more time. Tom says it's 3 a.m. Gotta sleep. Have a good night, Tom. Get good rest. Connected, this is awesome. This is great. Do you think if I release this, it would get attention? I want to release a project. I have a couple of tracks on the style, and I'm bouncing back and forth and releasing. Yeah, absolutely. Whenever you're asking yourself, should I release something? The answer is yes. I mean, the only time that it shouldn't be is if it's going to be potentially included in a larger work for any kind of reason, right? Going back several years, it would be easy to hold something back in favor of including it on an album, right? But nowadays, if you're not releasing it, my question would be, what are you doing with it? And if the answer is, I don't know, or waiting, but it's an ambiguous waiting, or, without specific reason, then I would say release it. Because the hardest part about gaining momentum is starting, because it can feel really impossible to achieve what other people have achieved. You're coming in and observing other people midstream, right? Like 15 years into their career or whatever. You're like, oh, how come it's so easy for they like release something and they get all these views or all these lists? It takes time. Just release it. is usually my advice. If it's sitting on a hard drive and it's not going to change and it's just a matter of time, then you really are just kind of cheating yourself out of something. You know what I mean? Um, y'all ever like wait to use that special thing in a game and you're waiting and waiting because it's like this super rare thing, right? And then one of two things oftentimes occurs in today's day and age, right? You end up using it in this super situation where you're like, now's the perfect time to use it. And then when you use it, you're like, oh, it actually really wasn't that big a deal. I mean, it kind of helped in this situation, but it probably wasn't worth saving that for the past 3 months or whatever. Or, or they changed the gameplay and now you can't use it. Right. So spend what you got. This isn't cash. This is creative output. It's just sitting and getting dusty. My issue, and I always feel like I can make it sound better, so I just keep it in the vault, but I can't ever juice it. And I don't know, it's complicated, but a part of me feels like I need a collaboration with someone who's very good at mixing and mastering. But yeah, reason I'm not releasing is because my mix master standards aren't being met in my songs. Okay, so that speaks volumes, Connected, because you've come through for a really long time with really, really good stuff. Honestly, you really have. So, and what you're saying here right now has like a strong resonance of truth to it, right? It's very genuine. I would say reach out to Tom. Reach out to Tom and talk to him about this and see what he thinks about your music and see if there's a vibe there. You know what I mean? Like if it's what you're saying, it's a collaboration. It's not, it's not a turnkey service having a standing relationship with someone that's like working on music with you. They get to know what you actually really want. And right now you're putting out stuff that's really good and it feels good and it's missing the mark in a nuanced way to you, the artist. So in other words, we are not able to fully interpret or get close to what you want us to because of the current state of said artwork, right? Like you're wanting a finishing touch. So reach out to him. It could be the big difference. It could very well be. And it isn't like this trivial or inconsequential thing. If this is something that's been bugging you for a while and it's been almost kind of gnawing at you while you work, and like when you go back and you're looking at your files and you're scrolling through stuff that hasn't been released and you kind of get that feeling and those thoughts. Break the cycle and see if treating yourself to that or your art to that kind of opportunity to see if in fact there is some difference that you can point to, figure out and say, that's exactly it. That's what was missing. That's what I'm trying to achieve. Then it was worth it. Right. And if you don't, then you also get something really good, which is validation, which is now we're talking about something else, which is your stuff is good and maybe you feel like it isn't as good as others, which is like it's a different thing. But follow your gut and allow yourself to kind of know the answer to that and then proceed. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Connect. Dude, it's hard. It's really hard to create, especially in isolation. And then again, also like if your better connections with people around your creative output and your like strides to improve with it over time are tethered to stuff like this, where it's like community that assembles en masse, where you get a small chunk of time on your stuff for a very like in limited scope. Yeah, it can be really tough. So having continuity long term with someone can be really, really beneficial. It is hard. It's also very bolstering in a lot of ways. And I don't think enough people talk about the benefits of struggle and the fact that passion is struggle. Like it's not supposed to be easy. That's why there's so many words for it. If it was easy, they would call it falling or something. You know what I mean? Like everyone would do it all the time. And that's not what this is. It is a struggle because we are trying to translate, right? We're trying to translate like feelings and ideas into sounds which are ephemeral little wiggles in the air. Like it's a thing. It's a thing, and try to capture that, right? You're saying, I feel like I don't understand compressors and limiters and all the mixing, mastering things, but I can make cool music, but don't release because it's not juiced like I want it to, because I listen to a lot of great mixes and I want to meet those with my songs so I can release them with maximum potential. Kind of, yeah, exactly. Dude, I'll tell you what. Okay, so everyone here knows Zev, right? Okay, so Zev, Will and I have had sessions for a while, going back many years. Like pure mind years, so back several years, like 8 years or so, and we've collaborated a bit. And the reason why we were introduced to one another is another artist had told him, hey, you need to understand compression. Like, your stuff is really good, but you need to understand compression. That's like the first step of like the next level. And so we met, and I told him, like, right off the bat, like, hey, I can teach you everything about compression, but it could be one of those things that takes a long time to sink in. And that long time could be 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years. It could even be 3 decades. It just kind of depends. It's sort of like chess or Pente. Like, someone can teach you the rules, right? It's very simple. This guy can move this many spaces. This guy can move in this direction. It's all finite. But what you do with that, and every single situation and moment being different from the next, it takes a little bit of time to untangle some of the like inner dialogue of why you approach things differently than other times, and so on and so forth, because it takes so many situations to suss all of that out and gain the perspective and blah, 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 blah. So anyway, it just takes time. So being with someone that you like really, really connect with is the key to all of that, I think, right? Because you guys can speak a similar language and move in similar ways, in similar circles, and have, you know, common reactions to similar things, and yeah, all that good stuff. Zeep, welcome in. Yeah, absolutely. Practice, practice, practice. People can talk at your faceplate, but only you can take charge and learn. Yeah, that's good stuff right there. It's good stuff. All right, Syndremic, you are next. Connected, that was good. And it's good to talk through all that stuff, because you know that if you've been feeling that for a long time, that other people in the same room have been feeling those same exact things for a while, and they need to, like, get all that out. And yeah, you know what I mean. Hearing other people. It's a whip from Syndremic. Oh, and you know what? Do I still have it here? Can I? Yeah, here's the link. Go grab yourself some free sounds. Let's listen to Syndremic. Yo, Zin, you've leveled up. Like the last one that you brought by on Wednesday was different because the sounds were leading you instead of you trying to lead the sounds, and everything changed. It was like in the second half of that song, even. I remember it kind of taking this turn. It wasn't quite a left turn or a right turn. It was just like a meandering. It's like I'm going to step off of the track here or off of the trail here because there's something that's caught my attention over here in the brush. And then all of a sudden, you're just kind of off track. And that's great. Or not off track, off trail. You are on track. You are now on track, right? You are on path. You are on your path. You are not on someone else's trail. It's not following in the steps of someone else. Someone took you to some woods. You're like, I like it better over here. And now I think things are going to get a little bit easier for you when it comes to what am I going to do when I sit down today? Because you don't actually have to actively make a lot of decisions. It's more of this collaborative process now. And in fact, you might find yourself being driven to create in times where you feel kind of conflicted about creating. But some stuff wants to come out now. So some unlocking is occurring. This is absolutely fantastic. Okay, so the bass in this one is great. Like, I feel like the conversation has been usurped by the creative process. But we need to hit pause on that for just a second and speak to the palette of this one because the sounds working together is a very big part of what allows you to be liberated enough to follow something, right? If the interplay doesn't exist, right? For there to be these reactions, these visceral reactions, these emotional responses to what's happening in the moment, right? It all develops together. So it's really kind of important to understand all of the things that have kind of led to the moment to stepping off of the path, so to speak, right? So there it is, right there. Your process and your approach to your sound design is informing your reactions to the things that your sounds are now capable of, and they want to explore what they are capable of, and boom, this is it. Syndremic. Oh man. I'm just going to read this. Syndremic says, although I'm new around here, I've been a fan of OhmLab for many years. Work on you, then come visit for a tune-up at OhmLab shop, then get back to it. Accept your current state. You are enough right now. Be you, no one else. And from what I can tell, you're really on your way to something unique and interesting connected. Only confidence will make you better. You can only do so much with the information you learn to do things. It only took a massive mental breakdown and near-death experience to bring me to this point. Oh man, I cannot understate how much you've helped me on this journey, OhmLab. Thank you for being there. Absolutely. And maybe one day the universe will allow me to thank you properly. Right? Well, I think the music is that. You know what I mean? Like that's what I get out of it, right? Is um experiencing it from the other side is not just as powerful, but it's so well, it's great. It's connecting, right? It's reaffirming. It's sharing. It's the continuation of, right? It's the helping something survive into the future, right? And knowing that it's in good hands and that the people who are wanting to share ideas are able to in a way that they're so much more pleased with. Uh, than before, right? Like we've definitely had lots of folks come through over the years that had like no idea how any of it was done, and they, you know, like in a short period of time, they're able to just like build something really truly incredible. Um, I think most people have it in them. It's just a matter of getting out of our own ways and having some stuff demystified. Something good. Yeah, the community is amazing. It's true. No glaze. It's a donut. Otherwise, just don't mess with me. That's great. Okay, Zendremic, I'm not going to say anything else about your track. I think your track was really good. I think the most important thing here is that you keep doing exactly what you're doing, regardless of what other kind of feedback might be potentially waiting around this one. I think that you need to just keep on keeping on. And Benjo, welcome in. Happy Friday. And don't try, just follow and see what happens. See what happens. I think that turning this corner is going to be one of those things that you'll actually look back on for probably the rest of your life, like the rest of your music making time, as a pivotal moment, you know? Okay, this one's called Come to Me. Fidel. Oh, and there's a note here in the chat saying, I'm only the vocals on this, also did the vocal mixing, at least to the best of my ability in the band lab. I got the beat from YouTube, and I attempted going back to 2010 with the song, and this is a new style to me. So if there's any ideas, vocal mixing-wise, vocally, performance-wise, I would love the feedback. I have friends, and the girl I'm talking to telling me to make me more like this, to make more like this. So normally I'm a boom bap rapper. So yeah, completely new to me. Okay, cool. Good to know. Okay, Fidel, this is lovely. I think the vocals need to be up on top of everything else. This is the type of music where you want to hear the inhale, right? You want to hear the tiny little details in the mouth and the fingers on the frets of the guitar more than the tone of the guitar almost, right? The feeling of proximity, the feeling that we are getting close to you in the same way that we're hearing your emotions. Like they're very at the surface right now, right? And we want to be right next to you in all of this, right? Um, and that's kind of it, right? Your delivery can be shy and emotional and vulnerable and genuine and, not being pushed out with great velocity and force. It can all be very heartfelt. It's just that it needs to be at an amplitude that's above everything else, right? So right now the guitar is absolutely kind of like the dominant figure in this. So I would say that would be the first one to reapproach there. A different performance might even be good on the guitar, but regardless, bring it down to the point where it feels supportive, like it's holding something fragile, right? Not like it's trying to set the pace or anything like that. And less transient on the sub, like it was noticeable in a couple of spots. That tells me something. One, it can come down a little bit, but also it doesn't need to have like an ear-grabbing quality to it. So less of a peak on the front of the sound, less transient. Yeah, I know. I'm talking to the vocalist, right? Blazin'. This is such a pretty song to go before my before mine. Oh my god, I'm so sorry for what will be happening with my track. It will be a total tone changer. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. So BlackBerry is getting uh a vintage Hammond M3 organ, built-in Leslie speaker. Arrives early next week. Wow. Wow. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Grab stuff off YouTube is as is. Death from above, hurrah. It does have a different look and feel to it for sure. All right, Krampus. Blazing, shall we? Something good. Imagine getting an organ for Christmas. Can you just imagine? Oh. Like slippers and robe not coming off for days. For days. You're like just coming in to the living room, setting down your mug, and playing. Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Vidal, you were welcome. Hope it vibes. Connected, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so you've got a bit of your own level up thing happening here too lately, dude. Um I think layering is kind of the next step in all of this. You've got this really awesome hybrid blend of this cinematic space and really fiery bass music, mechanic type stuff. Um, so here's what you could do on this first bass blast that you hear in this section. A bream. I want Siri to learn more. Stop correcting me as much. Sustained Brahms style, and then I need to learn how to type better too. Horn and synth bass, or horn synth bass that can resonate with the bass. Horn synth that can resonate with the bass. Man, I was all over the road with that one, wasn't I? Okay. So what I'm saying here is that if you were to layer in an element, a sustained note that is tonal, like a Brahms style, right? Like think like Hans Zimmer or Christopher Nolan or something, right? Like trailer type horn. Anyway, something that can kind of resonate with that bass. Layer that in as a sound design element. I think that'd be cool. Greater sustained tails, or as I put it here, some sort of additional atmospheric debris after these moments of transition, like these drops or these change ups. And it's just because your palette has become more cinematic in nature, right? More kind of texture and fully kind of driven. Um, and so because of that, I think there's just a deeper desire for there to be uh, the presence of the cinematic stuff, right, uh, in the music. And part of that is the decay rates and the amount of sustained elements in play, that type of thing. Have any suggestions for what type? I'm all ears. Yeah, so this is like a matter of using the elements that you're already using. Probably it's just exploiting them further through further processing. So one idea is if you have, let's take the idea of debris. Okay, you've got this kind of heavy hit happening in this moment, this big kind of impact, right? And there's this kind of particulate matter. So if you take and send an aux channel off of that channel that has that debris present, right? And now on that aux channel, you first put an EQ and take out some of the lowest frequencies, and then a delay, right, to extend some echoes into this, create a tail, right, and then hit that with some reverb directly after um, the delay, and all the while use the onboard filters and controls, the EQs, to take out as many frequencies as you can up and down to make sure that you're kind of controlling what kind of mayhem you're going to let out here. But what comes out the other side should have the majority of low frequencies removed. So you're losing a lot of the low impact detail. You're going to leave this kind of atmospheric mist frequency range open to carry on as a tail, right? So you've got this big kind of thing happening, right? Now, all of that can resolve the way that it already does in your track. But now there's this a little bit of extra atmospheric soup that you're letting drip into your mix from that auxiliary channel, right? This is separate from the main output now at this point. So that's the easiest way to kind of build upon what you've already got, and you don't have to worry about bringing in additional elements into your mix or anything. This is really just about treating what you already have just a little bit differently, I think. Get more out of the same. The chirpy bits are a bit piercing to me. Maybe just a little hat to cut some of those sharp bits. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Blazin, you've got it. Yeah, exactly. So, and the other part, exactly, is the environmental, right? Contextual, right? What is the type of situation that this thing is happening in, right? This is death from above. Hoorah. So exactly. You're going to have some sort of the cacophony of warfare, battlefield, military mindset, you know? Yeah. Yeah. Whatever you can do to um, kind of push the theme. What I mean? Absolutely. BlackBerry, you guys can have your sound libraries. I like to go to the source. Absolutely. Excellent. You got some ideas. Bubble Miles, you are up. See what you've created today. This one's no title yet. Probably a little bit of oonce, though.
There's no rush to be found. Pulse beneath your skin. Just there's no rush, no sound. We're drifting, lost, not meant to be found. Let it sink in.
Okay, Bubble Miles. I think the big thing here is volume mix. There's a whole bunch of different things that I was like, oh man, that was really loud. I want that to be quiet and gentle, like nuanced, and so like the atmospheric bit here at the end. It's a really good example because it's really just about frequency control more than anything. More than it is about volume, even. It's more about frequencies first and then volume because it's like the impact of the lowest frequencies in that ambience that I was like, oof, I felt that. Like that was kind of an impact almost. Um, so part of this is EQ, and I would do the EQ before the volume because oftentimes the perception of loudness or presence can be affected by frequency change. So um, I really, really love the palette and I love the arrangement. I like the pace. I like the kind of breathy, airy delivery of the vocals. I just want the breathiness to kind of take charge of the whole thing, which means some things need to be subdued, I think. The hats and the clap both have a little extra high frequency tickle to them, so they both kind of like grab your attention anew each time they're re-triggered. So you might want to put just a subtle curve over the top frequencies there, just to bring those down just a little bit. 120 is where it's kind of easy. Kind of easy to hear where the white noise is in relation to the rest of the mix, as it isn't really present, and then it starts to creep up, and then you can kind of gauge in this one window of time just how balanced the track is from one moment to the next with white noise. And there are a few white noise elements that ultimately, like when they do reach their peaks, it feels like everything has been kind of brought up en masse, loudness wise. And a lot of the higher frequency sounds just don't need the extra assistance because they're already reaching our ears easily. The other thing I would say on that is I talk quite a bit about making sure you EQ out the low frequencies in reverb channels, but it's also just as important to EQ out unwanted or unnecessary high frequencies as well. Oftentimes we want the original signal of the high frequencies to really be the ones that shine. So in those cases where something isn't needing to be extended in those upper frequencies, just take them out or bring them down a little bit. But overall, I think the volume mix on this is what I would want to be different. It might even be worth doing like a second pass on this one with a second volume mix, like making a duplicate of the project and remix it volume wise and see what kind of differences you make between those two instances, because it can actually be pretty informative if you have big differences in your mix. It means usually that there are some decisions being made kind of in the moment, but those settings are being set kind of in static position for the entirety of the song. So in some moments, the music feels really good and balanced in one moment, but then since there isn't a lot of automation changes along the way, it doesn't sound as balanced in other moments. So there could be a little bit of that happening too. Yeah, and BlackBerry's saying, I really like all the variants, but I think you can get to adding and varying elements faster. Your changes don't have to always occur in the first beat of the first bar of every chord cycle. You could probably condense this track by 25% without killing the casual vibe of the track. Changes are more exciting when they are unexpected, predictable. That's true. It's true. Yeah. How do we convert to AAC these days? Well, I'm a Logic guy, so I'm a Mac guy, so for me it's pretty easy. What are you having to convert to AAC for? Zeep Santhorpe, you are up, sir. Losers bracket. You are welcome, Bubble Miles. Hope the vibe's with you. Let's see what Zeep made. Sending a track to someone and they're asking for it. Ooh, nice. Z, I like how the vocal kind of sticks mostly where it is while the filter sweep happens in the intro. I like that. Telemetry / sparkle sounds can come up a bit. I think maybe on an LFO, right, that can come and go over time, so it changes in presence. But having that digital kind of sparkle come and go in the mix, I think will be a nice addition to, keep the kind of hyper futuristic element in play. Bass is super yummy. Nice release at 155 after that build, although I think it would be cool to have an additional riser layered into that buildup, something that maybe glitches or becomes rhythmic in the last second before, or half second before transition. Something atonal or noise-based in general, so it's not in conflict in any way harmonically. This is more felt rather than heard, I think, if done. 255 vocal kind of struggling to stay atop here at a couple of different spots, but we're peaking here in a pretty full mix. And the bass is super big, right? It's really dominant, and it's got a lot of like upper mid presence, so the vocals aren't able to hit the sweet spot. So I think we need to help them. They need to remain gentle in delivery, but they need to have greater presence in the mix, I think. Liv is here. Hi, Liv. Ooh, man. Check this. This is a great little side quest happening in the chat right now between Central and or Control or Official and Blackberry. Blackberry directing him to Beethoven's Fifth. Man. Constant reference. Still. Liv saying that might be an outdated reference. Have you heard of jazz? Oh, that was hilarious. It was so good. Good. Something good. Zeep, you are welcome. You are welcome. I really like this one. Does it feel like everyone has just been going through level ups lately? This one felt really good, Zeep. I mean, your palette is really tight. This is something that I'm noticing in a lot of the submissions lately is people are figuring out the things that they are doing best and really dialing them in. Something good. Berry speed test. Ooh. I like Duke and Miles quite a lot too. Matheny and Jaco are great too. Mm-hmm. Blackberry, do I know jazz? Only nominated in the category a few times here in Canada. Hope I got the delivery there right. All right, very speed test coming in.
Favorite word?
Let's see if this works.
Chris, are you like recording me right now or something? You wanted to hear my voice the whole time. I'm not sending you a voice note, bro.
Oh, more. Something good. I want to listen to more of this, please. Over here.
You wanted to hear my voice the whole time. I'm not sending you a voice note, bro.
I mean, hmm. We're getting some nitpicky stuff here. Maybe a little shelf on the lowest frequencies of this bass guitar, so it doesn't have quite as much low end thump. It's a nitpick. All of this has gotten so much tighter. It is the best type of picking, right? Not only do you itch less, you sound better. Man, how many people are involved in this? And out of curiosity, how long did it take you to produce this? Uno, just you. Okay. And how long did it take to do this 1 minute, 10 seconds here? Probably a day. And am I correct in remembering that you do not have an active portfolio in which people can purchase licenses to use this music, to pay you to use this music in their productions, right? Mm. Ooh, the Lexicon 480L emulator. Yes, we talked about that last time. There was too much to get into, so I'm going to wait a few years. Yeah, this is still my feelings. Number one, I want more. Whatever you bring to me, I want more of. And two, I want you to get a taste of the inspiration that comes with seeing or knowing, just knowing that other people are using your stuff in productions and how transformative all of that actually is. That's all I'm going to say right now, because it's going to be a few years. So I'll just stop right there. Are you the kind of guy that would hang 20 EQs on a single kick drum? Oh, this is good. This is good. I love our community so much. I mean, seriously. Nan Benjo, The Lack of Forgiveness. Now that's a project name. My goodness. Oh, and there's a note here in the chat. Nan Benjo saying, hi, so I started making music like 2.5 years ago, doing it seriously for just something over a year. I'm still a newbie, so any feedback is welcome. This track is worked on for 4 hours, 15 minutes. Last track I worked on for like 12 hours. Let's see what I can change, add, everything. Live! Gotta respect the gazelle. Thank you so much, Liv. And Nan Benjo, I think that went to you, right? Go ahead and grab some free sounds on the Discord channel. Also, I'm going to just paste this right here because we're doing this throughout the stream. Go grab free sounds, everyone. There's Tom picked out a pack this morning for y'all from the store, and he packed out ambient glitch textures. So you guys are getting some really weird stuff. Thanks for tuning in and being here. All right, so getting back to what Nan Benjo's saying, everything is made by me except the synth presets and drum samples, but like melodies, singing, lyrics, all me. Okay, let's listen to this. Also, cute bunny. I like the floppy ears. Let's try that again.
Озвена минулості, полегла в злості, зломані на кості, а і не сквозти. Озвена то знамена, скільки зла спомінаєш, на то, що було горше, на то, що було скорше. Озвена, я вравім озвена, моя озвена. Тупиця знамена, озвена, моя озвена, тупиця знамена, за мною засе озвена, моїх найгорших спітков, на мої руки мотина. Ozývám sa za tebou, za tvojou tupou hlavou, nikdy nemyslíš s ňou, preto skončí sa to vraždou, to samostatnou. Na rozdiel od teba, nevyhováraj sa mnou, keď ideš svojou cestou, za mnou je zase ozvena mojich najhorších skutkov. Na moje ruke modrina z mojich blbých ponutkov.
Okay, so only a couple things here, honestly. I think the raw nature of this is really inviting to me. I have no idea how far off the mark you feel this is from what you're aiming for. Rich is here. Gotta respect the gazelle. Thank you so much, Rich. Hope you're doing well over there. Happy holidays. So without knowing how far away from kind of the raw... There's the hype train right there. Respect the gazelle. Exophonic, thank you so much. Everybody who's subbed, go grab free sounds. Also, go follow this link and grab more free sounds. I'm trying to remember what is in the free sounds right now. I want to say it's maybe like despotism or something like that. I've lost track because we were offline for a month, and I have not changed that. I have not updated that yet, so we'll do that. We'll get everybody some extra sounds in this cycle to help make up for that. Okay, so anyway, getting back to this, Nambenjo, without knowing exactly how far away you are from your kind of like ideal, it's hard for me to steer you away from the kind of raw energy that I really appreciate from this, because this feels like something that we could potentially would have heard, you know, back in the 90s on like Sub Pop or something like that, right? Where you've got this kind of clangy boominess to what is in the reverb, for instance. Right, and the distortion on the whole channel affecting the delay and the reverb, it feels really intentional to me, right? And feeling that kind of clip effect feels really intentional to me, and it adds to the whole, you know, aesthetic of the whole thing. So yeah, it would be good to know what exactly it is that you feel is not satisfying to you in this. Ooh, Liv says, I've been learning the hard way recently about how aggressive EQ can fuck up a sound. Ooh, yeah, that's true, actually. That's true. It's so hard. It's so hard to use accenting in EQs when you are very minimally minded, right? Try and get everything done through cuts, attenuation. It's hard to get stuff accented just right with an EQ and have it be nuanced and tasteful and all of that. You're right. It's art. Exophonic says, easiest decision in a while. Well, thank you. Yeah, you want it to be a bit raw, not super processed, but still processed enough to be listenable. Yeah. Stream has freezed? No. Has it? Goodness. Sub pop coded. Yeah, it is, right? Okay, so if this is, you want it raw, you want it be processed enough to be listenable, let's listen to something. Okay, so the thing that stands out to me right now as things that I would personally change, but keep the raw nature of it, is the amount of limiting that's happening and how much it's pushing against our ears in certain frequencies, right? So the sub-frequencies are the first things you notice when things have been pushed above their natural volume, right? Because it just feels different and you can feel the force of sub-frequencies. So there's one thing is to roll off a fair bit of those sub-frequencies in general. And then also things that have sub-frequencies in them, bring those frequencies down before you're juicing everything up at the end. So that way you can keep your processing intact, right? And kind of just target this one element inside of the bigger mix that is a bit problematic. So once you reduce a little bit of that low end presence, you're going to feel the whole project kind of lift up a bit. That might mean that some of the upper frequency stuff might feel just a little harsh or brash. And if it does, I would recommend two things. One, always EQ reverb, low and high, but you don't always need to let all of the high frequencies through. And it's important, right? Because those can actually build up over time. So when we're listening to this moment right here, we are hearing kind of a buildup of high frequencies in tandem through the reverberated signals and also just the amplitude. So I'd back off some of the limiting. I would wrangle the low end a bit. I wouldn't touch too much. I really like the raw appeal of this one. Ooh. Now you guys are talking surround. It's a good chat day. It's a good chat day. Syndromic says, seems very much compression or just me, like Luff's over 9,000. Well, I think it's more just the perception. I'm going to guess on the Luff scale, if you were to bring this down a total of 5 Luffs, that we're not going to feel as though this is an assault in any way. And right now it can kind of feel like an assault to some, right? If this could be brought back down to like kind of normal pop, or I mean, not like normal punk loudness, and control some of those highs, then it's not going to feel as much of an assault, right? And by an assault, I just mean it's taxing, right? So you're probably not going to have it on repeat, for instance. But if there's some of those high frequencies shaved off and it's a little bit less abrasive, a little less taxing on the ears, then yeah, it's probably going to end up on repeat because it's really catchy and raw, right? It sounds almost like soundtrack material. It really does. It's good stuff. It's worthy. It's worthy. Yeah, you are welcome. You are welcome. Control 4. Let's do this. let's go over to here. Do this here.
This showed that the active measurement affected the outcome of the experiment. And the particles' behavior depended on whether it was observed or not. This phenomenon is known as quantum superposition and collapse. And it implies that quantum systems exist in a state of uncertainty until they are measured.
All right. This is a fun, like colorful, magical palette of sounds to be working with. It's cool. Layered ARP in the beginning. It got a little busy right before the change up. The change over itself is great. I think that the crossfade perhaps of the different elements could be a touch longer, or somehow that handoff can be just a little bit smoother. Warren 114, overall great feels, nice deep palette to play with, like I was just saying. 133, wanting a bit more mid-range detail to come through from all the fleeting elements. And I think a part of that is that the bass, the rolling bass line itself, that instrument is so big and it's so dominant across so much of the frequency range. It is hard for everything else to be felt and heard to the fullest, right? So obviously the bass line needs to be what drives the whole thing, but it does need to leave more room. So scoop a little bit out around the mids to make more room for other things. And also try to just bring it down in the mix without making it feel as though the track is now lacking, right? And then make more bold decisions, volume-wise, about what's firing off when and to what degree and where, right? Where is it in the stereo field? Is it fixed static position or is it moving? If it's moving, it might not need to be as loud because it's doing something else to grab attention, right? If it's something that is up in frequency, it doesn't need to be as loud because it's already cutting through the mix quite easily, right? So there are some things that without even hearing the sound, you can kind of make a decision of how far from center and how far down from the leader things could be before even listening to them, right? Just because of the rank and file kind of situation, right? At the order in which everything is operating in the mix. So there's one thing, right? Bring down the bass line, help everything else be heard just a little bit, and then make some really good, bold decisions about how many supporters there are and how many leaders there are in this. A lead needs to be a leader, right? Your transitions, the transition effects, those could be up at a leader kind of velocity, right? Presence. But all of the flying ear candy, those are secondary, tertiary level elements, right? Your pads, anything droning, anything pulsing, those are secondary elements, right? So get the rank and file in order on these guys, and then I think you'll start to realize just how much space and depth you've got going on here, because you've got a lot of different characters firing off in the space. And as you can see here, the big peaks and valleys are at these big transition points. I think you can get a little bit more variation in each one of these big columns when you adjust your volume. Because what's going to happen is this general noise floor down here, you see this never comes down. And that could come down. You could potentially see a lot of the bottoms of these peaks over here. I know my mouse icon is not very great. There we go. These peaks, we can see them come all the way down to here. I'm not sure what, there we go, all the way down to here. And that I think will help just the other problem that this track has, which is the impressive moments could be made to be feeling more impressive if everything wasn't quite as loud, right? So if the biggest moments feel bigger, exponentially bigger than the lower moments. Dialogue at 230, I think it's a really good spot to kind of peekaboo this problem right here. The dialogue samples are fantastic. They're a perfect match for this track. We just can't hear them fully and succinctly throughout. So this right here, the volume mix, after you change the bass, this is going to be the big thing. Let's see what the chat is saying. Yeah, people like this wub. Hierarchy of sounds, yes. Yeah, exactly. Grouping things based upon their loves. And so now you're knocking on the door of another thing here, which is the batch processing in general, right? The batch processing and batch mixing. And certain things in your mix will never actually need to be put through that big limiter that a lot of people have at the end of their chains, right? They just don't need to put those higher frequency elements or the sub into any of that. And when they do, certain things start to happen that just aren't great, right? So having that mindset early on in the process and knowing that you're going to set yourself up for that as you're working is like, it's so super important. Super duper. Loves. Everything is loud. How do you know it's loud? And that's contrast. And that's why meters are important too, right? It's important to understand that what you're feeling can be backed up by what you're seeing while you're producing. That seems like a given or like a yeah, duh. But seriously, keep some meters on, and while you're working, just look over at them all the time. You'll be able to correlate so many things. And you'll inform your decision making about what gets grouped where, all of that stuff. You're a love. It's all a love. Oh, life is a love, isn't it? Here. Oh, wait, that's not the right one. That's not the right one. Let me go grab the right link here really quick. That's the right one. All right, let me get back to us now. There it is. Go grab some free sounds. It's all a love. Connected. Where are we in the queue here? This one's called Hypnosis. Wow, this art, man. Both pieces of art from you today. Lovington Von Moore. Oh, I love this. Life is about having a long attack and short delay. Short release, yes.
Focused attention.
Um, yo, I'm I'm hearing your words from earlier resonating in my head about you feeling like your stuff isn't hitting the mark that you want it to, and I can hear what you're wanting. Like I can hear it. So I grok. I fully understand the hesitation with the releasing, and I get it. I totally do. All right, so really good amount of atmosphere here being generated without the use of noise and big reverbs. So well done. It's like really leaning into mood and then the supportive kind of contextual elements that are driving the theme, right? The samples, just how much reverb are put on these kind of digimechanical type of samples, right? The type of sounds that we associate with like hard drives or um, like the inner workings of these mysterious devices, right? Um, and it doesn't take a lot of decay time to leave you feeling like you've got this kind of suspension happening. It's great. It's well done. Well done. Um, some of these sounds I think can be actively modulated. It feels as though if I were to look at this project, and I have a bunch of projects like this as well, and the way that I deal with this is I bring a lot of them down, way down in volume. Um, and then I start to massage things. Once the complexity of the soundscape has been diminished, I can start to feel out what needs to happen next, if that makes sense. So here's what I would expect to see if I looked at this project, just peekabooed in on what you were working on. I think I would see in almost a rhythmic way a whole bunch of individual samples dropped on the timeline. And here's your main kind of collage of sound, and then it's these kind of fine detail bits of ear candy that are happening at such a rate as to feel to keep the thing going, right? To keep the pace. I think a little more variation in the way in which they're being delivered would make it feel a little less rhythmic and a little less intentional, right? And a little more environmental almost, right? Um, I think some of it could be as simple as volume fades as things are coming in. So it's not like just this abrupt, right? It's something that like is briefly passing us by, or we just got a whiff of, or something, right? And then just that subtle difference can actually be pretty profound, right? If a few of those things are stacked up next to other very subtle things, um, right? Like a pan position change while a sound is actively being delivered, right? Maybe a volume down, maybe a pitch down on a couple of them. So it feels like something is operating or failing or something. Affecting the playback speed of one or more of these elements in the background that just happens briefly can also be really profoundly impactful because they're so fleeting and we have very little time to process it. So they can actually have a pretty big impact on the whole thing. This actually reminds me of a couple of old Sound Freaks things, and specifically a track that Alan Moore made for one of the packs. It's really good stuff. I like this track that you've made. It's really good stuff. Okay, the other piece of advice I give you in this one is maybe just pick a couple of spots in here where you can get closer to silence and give us a more kind of holistic range of dynamic range. Actually give us the valley floor. Like where is a spot in this where we can get a little bit closer to quiet? Let's see what other people are saying. I might hunt you down in your dreams if you don't release this. Hey, Nate's here. How you doing, Nate? You're in the middle of making a small deadline, but vibing for a sec before I miss. Oh man, I miss getting to see you too. We were offline for like a month, dude. We had a poopocalypse situation over here. We had a sewer pipe break in the street about 10 feet down. outside our place, and we were not here for about a month because of it. Good to see you, dude. Blackberry says, connected, this is super solid. My only comment in terms of overall imaging, near field, left, right, far, center imaging is great, but all the spaces in between could use more love. That would be more pan and selective EQ to achieve a deeper sense of spatialization. Syndromic says, stop caring as much. You have hundreds of songs, maybe thousands, to worry about the perfection that's just in your mind. This is fabulous. Keep learning and adding to your craft. You'll get to the point where you want it in time, but this is good enough for a muggle to enjoy. Oh, that's great. That's great. Copy that comment, slap it on your desktop. Oh, man. Zedremic. And listen to OhmLab. Always listen to Papa OhmLab. Gonna go back to the VOD, re-listen to all this. Good tier, top tier feedback. Oh, excellent. Excellent. Glad it's I've been with you. Yeah, I kept sending out demo builds for feedback, and I'm getting the most updated tracks and SFX. Oh, nice, dude. Excellent. That means you guys are getting close. That's great. Amazing to connect, truly. Right? 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 I was just talking with someone the other day about how if you go back in time, several years now, to the beginning of the pandemic, there was this thing that had happened. And it all happened within a very short window of time, and it affected so much. I had recently gone on to YouTube, and I had deleted years worth of stuff, right? I had taken down the old OhmLab and was just about to put up a new rebrand of everything. And then the pandemic happened, and I was like, ah! I refuse to continue doing this through Facebook and stuff. I just absolutely refuse. Everything started to feel so awful around those spots, so those places. So anyway, long story short, I decided that I was just going to do these live streams, right, and connect with people for the reels again, and not for however long, I wasn't sure, but not actually push all this stuff to YouTube, right? I was like trying to make this conscious decision to like stay intimate, right? Do not delete your old self. Anyway, just seeing the comment of good to be connected by connected. It really is. I feel like, you know, I still haven't pushed all of that stuff over to YouTube. There's still a lot of people that are kind of unaware that we're doing this all the time over here, which has been really nice because it takes a lot of pressure off and whatnot. We don't have to serve as many masters, so to speak. But it really is nice to be connected, isn't it? Isn't it? Yeah, it is. It's no regrets, right? Yeah. It's nice to be connected. It is good to be able to spend quality time on individual tracks with people for such a long time, right? All right, Shadow Eagle, let's do this. Moonlight Shadow. Shadow Covdo remix. Let's do this.
Lost in a river last Saturday night, far away on the other
Yeah, I like this. It's really solid. Like, I think the snare, I mean, this is nitpicky, but the snare could use a little saturation to bring additional brightness to it, a little bit more edge. It's just a little bit more crack to it. Like, this is solid. There's comments about your Dave Guetta's alt. Oh, right. Yeah, need to add some massive hall reverb and an EQ at 12 dB shelf for sub 140 hertz for real experience. Just to get the big festival space. Yeah, I really don't have I don't have a whole lot of critiques on this one, Shadow Eagle. I think it's solid. I think it's solid. Beef up the snare a little bit. I think that's it. How are we on tracks here? 2, 3, 5, 6. Yeah. All right, Proxima. Let's see what you've made in the last couple of days. Verbeer Redux VIP remake extremely early draft. Ooh. Yeah. Oh! Ooh, good choice on the outro. Blackberry, take care. Happy holidays, brother. Happy New Year. Happy Festivus. Enjoy the annual grieving of airing of the grievances and lighting of the tree and all of that. And enjoy the new organ. Prox, this is great. It's so gooey. It's just gooey. I think we're all a little higher just listening to it, honestly. Aren't we? Airing of the grievances. Let it out. Let it out. I do not like the way you hang the toilet paper roll in the bathroom. Whatever it is, just let it out. Let's just move on with it. Seriously though, I feel like this moment back here, where was it? I mean, these are the little moments that, like, this is all we hope for. Like, really, really good drugs. And a moment like this on the dance floor on a Friday or Saturday when we're out with our friends, that's what we're hoping for. So we get a moment like that so everyone can turn around and, like, have the reaction in unison and have the big over the top, like, feels from that. It's great. It's great. That was some catnip, wasn't it? Yeah. Yeah. It's what got you into music. That's a lot of people say that. A lot of people say that. There's something about the iconic, like, resonant twist. Man, it's tough to beat. Just do me a favor and don't change a bunch of stuff. I know Blackberry pointed out you missed a hi-hat beat or something, but just don't change a bunch of stuff before you go and release this one, because I really like it the way it is. But that's just me, so. Cinnamon Roll. This one is called Cinnamon Roll. Version 0.56, which tells me a lot about Exophonic. Is version 1 when the first, like, finished version of a song is complete? I'm curious. I like this. Yeah. Exophonic, do you currently have music available in a portfolio that people can buy a license to use your stuff in their projects? If the answer is no, I just want to say out loud, in case someone else has not said this out loud to you before, the answer should be yes. This Drake says, if this doesn't end up in some games, I'm gonna be sad. I do not. I haven't considered myself ready. Okay, so we are Exophonic. I don't know if you are entirely new here or if you've lurked in the past or whatever, but we're like half super serious music and sound production community and half therapy support. We can give you all of the recipes needed and all the guidelines and mentorship needed to make your stuff sound, just like the pros, and to get your stuff out into just the right places. But it's entirely up to you to do all the head work to get there, right? But that's like the other half of why we're all here together. So let me just tell you, just give you the quick summarized version of this. Your stuff has value. And currently, regardless of how you feel on the inside about how you feel ready or not, it is currently collecting dust, my friend. Now, I say that with all the love in my heart. This is not like a mean critique in any way. This is absolutely meant to inspire and motivate you. Hearing this from someone that has done it for a while, you have a lot of intrinsic value in what you're producing here. I've only heard one thing from you, but I can tell a lot from what I'm seeing and hearing in this one thing. So perhaps something that you should explore in 2025 is the idea of what it might feel like to receive money from people that you don't know, that you'll never even meet on the regular. Simply because you are uploading your files instead of leaving them on your local drive. Like, this is literally the only difference in what you're doing now versus what you could be doing. So think about that as something that you could do in 2025 that could be a huge change for you, because it's kind of waiting for you at this point. Okay, so the ding in this, I think it can be a little bit more prominent. I forgot to put a timestamp on it, but it is early on. Hit it with a little bit of just clear overdrive. Don't drive it to the point of grit. Just generate some harmonics. Just kick it with like 1.75 dB of gain, and that's it. Target like 7K. Something like that. Maybe even 10K. Make it brilliant. And then that's it. Like, that's it. I just want the ding to ring out more. It's right in the middle of like 3 other things that share similar frequencies, and they're all kind of close proximity timing wise. So let that thing shine above the other things, and then I think this thing is really golden. Bubble Miles says, join Motion Array. He got into it last year. Yeah, I mean, any of these libraries will do it for you. Pick one. It can even be one of the easier low-hanging fruit ones that you start with because you're hesitant to dip your toes into the water completely until you feel ready, which is totally fine. The really nice thing about operating online is that nobody has any idea who you are or what your intentions are or where you've come from or what your goals are or what you consider success or failure, any of that. Right? You could have 25 different portfolios next year if you want to, right? Each one with a different name and profile if you wanted to do that. I mean, what I'm trying to make a point of here is that you can dip your toes into the water at any time and have no impact on the rest of your everything. Like, if you already know what your ideal artist name is and all that kind of stuff, and you've started formulating a brand and all of that, you can go dip your toes in the water using a different name and a different brand and learn the mechanics. Get yourself into a routine, upload every day, right? Get into this kind of process. So when you do dip your toes into the water with your your preferred persona, you'll hit the ground running. This is just more of the same, me beating the same drum, which is basically saying like, hey, when you guys hit save, you could also be hitting upload and be getting more out of all of this. I'm just saying. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Liv, right there. Right there. Liv says, you being ready has nothing to do with the music at this point. Yeah. Xphonics says, I've really just started seriously for about 2 months making music for real. I've posted a few things to SoundCloud of varying quality. Yeah, I would say, I would say if this is 2 months of you, then take your learning stuff, and I totally understand that. You can call this cutting room floor, you can call this fodder, you can call this B-roll, whatever you want. Take it over to Pond 5 or something. I don't think you can get into Audio Jungle. I think Audio Jungle is still closed. They've been closed for several years now to new authors, but Pond 5 you can walk into, I think. And then once you feel like you understand what the business is kind of about, you can't understand it completely right away, but like once you feel like you're getting your bearings, then yeah, take your stuff to someplace like Motion Array or something. Yeah. See what you can do. You've got a natural knack for some stuff. It's obvious. So yeah, it is a good community, isn't it, Syndromic? All right. Amguala. Let's do this. This one is called California. Where are we going here? Wait, I didn't mean to start that. Hold on a second. What are we doing here? There we go. Okay. We are going to listen to this one.
You try to sound like Drake, so I'm California sober in Toronto with no motor. I'm a burner, I'm a stoner. I'm a nice guy with a blower. I fucked her, I don't know her, but I could be her owner. My liver got corroded, I'll never be a donor. Coming up, they fuck me over, now they look over their shoulders. I'm maturing, getting older, but so crazy like before. Yeah, but so crazy like before. I've been at this shit before, now I know I'm getting sore. Catch me flowing with my boys, drinking mud and smoking noise. Never got to play with toys, had to hit the block with poise. Still got my family at my lowest, my wrist heavy cause it's frozen. Fucking a girl till I'm snoring, type of life where insanity get boring. I got vanity, I'm important. This girl feeling me, she adoring. In these chewy jeans, I got Bordens. Top of my class, I'm talking on the road. Guala getting really on the road. Never been, never full. My heart was warm and I was getting cold. I'm California sober in Toronto with no motor. I'm a burner, I'm a stoner. I'm a nice guy with a blower. I fucked her, I don't know her, but I could be her owner. My liver got corroded, I'll never be a donor. Coming out, they fuck me over, now they look over their shoulders. I'm maturing, getting older, but so crazy like before. Yeah, but so crazy like before. I've been at this shit before, now I know I'm getting sore.
Stop this here. All right, let me just finish this sentence. I'm not very good at talking and typing. Same time, lean into the atmospheric elements, textures, and some ad lib. Okay, I think you can go just a little bit left of center in what you're doing here for the genre, because you have something that, quite frankly, a lot of people do not in this space, and that is really good lyrics. And you can use that to great effect. I also think that your production quality, the things that you're doing with the sounds that you've picked, and the way that you're doing them is ahead of the curve. It's above the average in this genre. So I would say lean into the things that you're doing a little bit differently so you can stand out a little bit more for those very reasons and kind of own it, right? Everybody needs a thing that they can own, that can get them some like long running fan base, right? And I think this is it. So focus on your lyrics, as I'm sure you will. Things to consider: atmospheric elements and textures can become kind of cornerstone elements in your production. You could be the guy that's always got the surface texture on the sounds and the atmosphere in the background, right? And then ad lib a little bit, right? Maybe just a little bit during the outro or something. You could borrow something from some of the boom bap world or something like that. Like this is how people start to stand out in different ways, right? And all you have to do is figure out what those little hooks can be outside of a single song that can kind of persist across everything you do. I think these would be really, really simple things that you could apply. That said, I don't think the production itself like needs additional work to be improved upon. I think this is really just about you kind of owning whatever it is you're going to hone in on as being your specific kind of signature qualities. You know what I mean? Let's see what the chat is saying here. Respect the Gazelle. Proto, welcome in. Thank you so much for the sub. Go grab some free sounds. We do free sounds here. So hit the Discord. Make sure that your Discord and your Twitch profiles are connected, and then you'll be granted access to the subscriber rewards channel. And also, just for everybody else that's here, nope, that's not the right link. That is the Spotify link that I just grabbed. Let me go grab the right link. There it is. This is the right link. Where is my chat? Everybody else can go grab these free sounds. Yeah, I think that you're operating in a genre that lyrics are underappreciated. So a lot of people just don't put forth the effort, to be perfectly frank. And then because of that, people are largely tuned out of the lyrics. So I think that the other thing that you can do differently here is treat the lyrics differently, right? We've got some other folks in the community that have taken a slightly different approach to a very specific like static oriented way or a subgenre. I can think of a few of them off the top of my head. One of them has done quite well with differentiating themselves, and it really comes down to just giving a middle finger to the genre itself and saying, I'm going to make this clear. Like everything else is going to be the same, but my lyrics are going to be more clear. And you know why? Because my lyrics are great. And I just want that to be acknowledged, basically, right? So you can do that in pretty much anything, right? In this other person's example that I'm thinking of specifically, it's funk, right? And there's a certain kind of cloudiness to funk that obscures very specific details, and it leaves everything sounding incredibly generic because a lot of people follow this recipe religiously, right? As if in a cult, as if they deviated, something bad would happen, right? You find the same thing to be true in a lot of dub techno, but then there are the people that stand out, right? Like Deep Chord or something that can like really rock stuff for like decades because they said, nah, you know what? I'm just going to do this one thing a little bit differently. So you could totally do that. And that could totally be your lyrics. And then production quality wise, if you kind of lean into some atmosphere and textures in each one of your productions, you're golden. You're golden. You've got a thing. You know what I mean? Syndromic says, the bass in these genres totally removed me from paying attention to lyrics or anything else. Yeah, I mean, this is really just about all of it, regardless of what kind of music you make. This is really just about you, right? And unlearning all of the finger pointing through your whole life of like, no, it's supposed to sound like this. This is what that's supposed to sound like. Like the whole world has been kind of doing that for a long time. And now you have this opportunity to say, nah, you know what? No, I like what I'm doing is actually great. And you guys can actually pay attention to this now. And you can just do that. And this is actually a pretty safe space to do that. Like you can make your next track just like that, bring it in, and then we can give you really honest and frank feedback to help you dial it in. So when you do get it in front of people, they're really, really impressed with it. You know, they're like, oh man, this is exactly how the genre should be. Like, intelligent. You know what I mean? All right, Scruffy Rico. Are we allowed to exophonics? Yeah, let me see how many we have here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, why don't you toss one in? And then we'll probably close the queue. So if there's anyone else that's sitting on the edge, unsure whether or not they're going to submit anything today, right now is the time to do it. Rich, it is you. Stephen Acosta, welcome in. It's Friday. Happy Friday. Thank you for the follow. Mguala is saying, I like the bass blown out, but my new engineer is good at making it loud and clear at the same time. See, that's great. That's great. I don't know why, but yours is not embedded. Oh, it's all good. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. We're clever little monkeys. All right, I'm going to move my notepad to the other screen so we can see Rich's video here. I'll see you guys in just a bit. Make sure this is 1080p for you guys. It's quite the destination. Oh man, I wanted that to be longer. Scruffy Rico, dude, it's so good to hear you again. I hope you're doing well over there, Rich. Are you still working on the site, the project, the side project over there? Because if so, we can spam the link in the chat here and see if anyone else is interested in contributing some ambient stuff. Ooh, taking a music break at the moment and moving to a new Mac OS Studio. Yes, Rich, very good to hear. Okay, so one thing I would say is the ducking, the sidechain compression on this felt a little more predictable than most. Maybe I'm just being more sensitive than usual or something, but if not already, vary the depth and the attack, the release, everything of your compression across all elements. So each one is set up individually to get more of an organic feel. And then the other thing I would say is around 4 minutes or so, it would be cool if there was an additional element that joined the mix that brought some other thing. It was hard for me to put my finger on what exactly it is that I was feeling on this moment, but I was thinking maybe it's this kind of slower cascading, like downward cascading arpeggio to counterbalance what's happening or something. Not quite sure, but there is something around 4 minutes where I'm like, this feels like yeah, something with a little bit of pace. Not quite sure what it is. I totally agree right now. I'm like, hey, what is it? There's something here around 4 minutes. Oh man, let's see here. 1471 second inversion. You're saying, yeah, I'm scrolling up and I'm seeing that right now. Rich saying, yes, I need something here. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Sledding is great. Mobile miles. Let's do this. This one is Elevate My Mind. All right. Queue is now closing. Let's listen to Mobile Miles.
You elevate my mind.
All right, this one feels like a hit. Like this one, cooking. This one feels like it would slip into a lot of playlists, and people would not remove it from the playlists. You know what I mean? Yeah, this is one of those gateway tracks. You know, like this is one that you want to actively shop around to, like, solicit to a couple of really good, like, Spotify playlists. So it starts to aggregate into other people's playlists. I think that's the kind of thing you want to do with a track like this. It's a total gateway track. This will lead people to you, definitely. Exophonic says, you figured me out. I play boogie woogie jazz and improv on piano. Bubba Miles, I think the only thing that I really want to be different is it's the alternate vocal elements, not the main vocal element. I think that one is sitting pretty. The vocal chops can be up a bit, few dB. The backing vocals, there is a couple of moments where there's actual, like, backing vocal element bits, like shortly before transitions, if I'm remembering correctly. Anyway, those can be up about double what they are right now. And I think that moment will feel a little bit different, like emotionally. It'll have a little bit more weight to it. So thinking about releasing it as a single. You should. I think you should. And you should also do something about that too. Like, I don't know if you ever do press releases or anything like that, but you could do something like that. But seriously, I think you should try and push this one into some playlists and see what kind of traffic comes back your way because of it. Humfrick, it is you. This one's called Doomerman. Man, this koala has the right idea.
Und ganz viel Zustimmung zur Militanz ist bei mir aus diesem trivial sadrischen Existenzialismus oder das, was Kommunisten früher Voluntarismus genannt haben, gegeben, wenigstens bei dem Irrsinn und bei der Selbstverharmlosung nicht zu sein. Wenigstens habituell ausdrücken, dass das, was ich will, von mir mit einigem Ernst verfolgt wird. Das ist die größte Legitimation von Militanz in meinem Leben.
He read the grass was greener. Black beamer, I-8, she gyrate. Rubbing shoulders with pigs who don't fly straight. Just ate, causing indigestion. Will soon regurgitate into profits, no question. Nosy agents sniffing around. Pay attention, you could take that to the bank. Thanks, don't mention it. Pleasure's all mine. I ain't mad at y'all. Clear advantage like playing paddleball on Adderall. Be great, that is all.
All right, Humfrick, I'm going to talk about what these few things are instead of typing it out. Dialogue up a bit more in general. I don't know exactly what is being said in that first dialogue sample, but it sounds like it's probably pretty dope. The throwback vibes in this one, just going hard. I would love to hear an alternate mix on this. Here's what I think could be fixed or done differently to make this thing sound a little more powerful. One, the low end cutoff can be brought up to probably 40 hertz, 12 dB per octave curve, and that will help the bass kind of jump out of the speakers a little bit more. Right now it feels kind of lazy, the bass a little bit sludgy because there's a little extra low frequency energy in there that's kind of holding it back. The next thing is this thing really needs some kind of mix compression on it to glue the elements together. So the ghostly synth that's running throughout this thing will probably have to come down just a little bit so it doesn't become too dominant. It's very resonant in its appeal, so it's going to need to probably be very subtle before it goes through that compression process. That's going to bring everything else up, right? Your snare might need to come down just a little bit because of it, because it's got that little pitch thing happening in there. But really, this is about finding a little bit more glue, a little bit more gel and power, a little bit more oomph in this thing. It's got some really good energy in it. Like, it's got a really good, it's got a really good throwback quality to it. And I think part of making that pop is finishing this thing with like a layer of saturation, right? You've already got this kind of clip thing happening. I'd probably back off some of that and then finish it with something that can bring it back up to that, just so it has a more of a holistic finish to it, instead of the individual sounds feeling like they were kind of processed to this point, having one thing that's bringing it up to this point. Zendremic says it would be cool if the lyrics were more dominant. Yeah, I think the dialogue and the lyrics. Absolutely. I agree. Danny's here. I'm Imagine It in the chat. How you doing, homie? Yeah, I like it a lot. I like it a lot. I agree with Zendremic here. Yeah, good stuff. It's some fire. Let's do this. Techno. La Vengeance.
rafale, quella di Mondiussi, avant tu vas. Et pour tous les rafales, et pour tous les rafales, et pour tous les rafales, avant tu vas.
Yeah, okay, so this one's close. I think a couple things. The crash symbol itself feels kind of dull in comparison to where a lot of the other sounds are, so I'd hit that with some overdrive. I'd probably target like between 5 and 8K. You don't want to get too bright, but you want it to get brilliant enough for it to really feel shiny and metallic, right? And right now it feels kind of dull and metallic, so make it shiny. I like the original sounding palette. Like there are elements in it that sound very familiar, very comfortable in the genre, but the entirety of the palette feels pretty original as you've assembled it. And the unexpected change up at 309 kind of makes me crave a little something in the track prior to this. As like a little precursor or like foreshadowing, because that happens pretty late in the track. It'd be kind of cool to have something else upset expectation earlier on. Little Bible thumping moment for Syndremic there. We're both typing the same exact thing in the chat. Oh, man. Jeremiah's here. A little late, but here. How you doing, Jeremiah? Happy Friday to you. Happy holidays. Saying, I like the dull toms. I like the dull toms, too. Yeah, like not everything needs to be super shiny, right? Absolutely. Yeah, the rest of this, I think I'd rather continue hearing the same. I think the rest of this is pretty darn solid. I think that you've done a pretty good job with the controlling your frequencies. Yeah. I love you too, bros. And I think that next year needs to be a little less heavy. I agree. Less big things going wrong would be nice. That would be nice. Yeah. Yeah, staying in the house all 12 months out of the year would be good. Brett, to you. All right, Retchi is here saying, song made with 5 friends of mine, made under our new group project called Skavid. Project is over 250 layers. Track is coming out soon and wanted some reactions, potentially for social media promo, if you're fine with me using your reaction. Sure. Here's also a pre-save link if you want it. Excellent. Got the radio edit here. Hey, on the first try. Nice. Synced about where you wanted to go in this exploration. I'm pretty impressed. It's a lot of movement in that 3 minutes, and it doesn't become overwhelming, which is really nice. It's a good progressive set. Vinyl crackled down a little bit in the early intro there. It's popping at a really unnatural loudness level. So I think vinyl typically one of its greatest assets is that it makes people lean in, and when something is at that unnatural loudness, they don't need to lean in. So it does kind of take away from one of the bigger strengths that it has in a mix. So 22 seconds in, watch out for resonant spikes and filter sweeps. A lot of people forget about this. It's really easy to do. It's really easy just to crank the knob all the way up or all the way down and forget that those really high frequencies or those really low frequencies really should not have a decibel boost in them. So automate the resonance down as you automate up or down to avoid that at those extremes. 101, really nice active modulation, just right out the gate. It's super fluid, it's really organic, and it's clean, and it's not bumping up against anything in an over aggressive way. Really felt nice. 108, I think the bass needs to come down a little bit in general. I'd also roll the low end cutoff up to 45 hertz at a 12 dB per octave rate. So very gentle cut there. Don't do anything more drastic. It should help that bass fire out of the speakers like a cannon. Right now it's just kind of like jumping out. That means you're going to need to bring it down in volume. So roll down or roll up to 45, bring the volume down. It'll probably need to come down a good 5 dB after that change, I would imagine. It's going to sound quite a bit louder. Lead needs to come up just a little bit. Another reason why the bass needs to come down a little bit. Really lovely liquid stuff happening at 143. 155, I think you can lean into the atmospherics a little bit more here post-transition and let us kind of feel like we're lingering in the clouds, right? Or like there's some smoke or something that needs to dissipate before we can kind of see clearly again, right? 209. I would slim down the sub bass in these rapidly articulating bass synth moments for cleaner mix. So this one is the big takeaway. Like if you're looking for the golden nugget here, this is it. When you've got something that is moving around really quickly, and it also contains a fair bit of heat south of 100 hertz, those frequencies are not fully being realized and delivered before the next one actually happens. And the reason is because those frequencies require more energy and time to be produced and move through space than any of the other frequencies in your mix, added up together even, right? So remove them. You don't need any of those sub-bass frequencies during the rapid articulation. The only thing that's really going to happen with keeping them in there is it's going to make your mix muddy. So you're gonna unlock a bunch of clarity in your track because of this, and all of that stuff is going to feel much more nimble, right? Just imagine it's kind of akin to seeing a really, really talented athlete lose like 40 pounds, and all of a sudden they can just like fly through the air because their muscles are amazing or whatever, right? So just think about it that way, right? You're about to create much more nimble versions of those elements that are just really rapid fire. Okay, let's see what the chat has to say about this. Yeah, Complextro is alive and well, right? People put different names and labels on stuff, but Complextro is alive and well. Humfrick is saying, I think the drums could use a little more bang. Kick could hit a little bit harder. Maybe the hats. My preference may be for heavy drums. Otherwise, clean and really good work. You know, I would say that there is, there's like a finish that could be on them. If you finish them with just simple saturation, you're going to end up with drums that sound akin to, say, like the Cohen sound. They'll be a little bit more snappy, a little bit more well-defined, and they'll have a fair bit more kind of throaty punch around like 200 hertz or so. So you're probably going to get a byproduct like that if you go that route. And I don't think that would be a bad thing. Stephen Acosta says squelchy growls are on point, and I would agree. Jeremiah says, too busy for me, but I'm probably old, which the kids would probably agree. It's a Dremic hands you a cane. Oh, man. Brutal. Brutal. And then apologizes. The youngin's got a peacock. It's true. It's true. Well, we're not all in the same room, so we can't smell each other. So you gotta just make your sounds really big, you know? Can't see how tall your mohawk is. There's so many other things that you can share in person. Here online, you just have to be loud. You're never too old for new music. I agree. Exophonic. This one is Green Meadow, version 0.4. See, one of the things that it tells me about you, Exophonic, is that, and I love this about you already, is that you're aware that you're not even halfway there yet on this one from where you want it to be. And that makes my heart smile a little bit. All right, this one's called Green Meadow. All right, Exophonic is saying, oh boy, admittedly, it's a little bare past 249, still brainstorming ideas there. All right, Let's listen. All right. The big takeaway here is that you can't mix everything the same. And as you're just now getting started in all of this, it's really good for you to learn this lesson specifically right now. So you don't ever form this habit, because it's a really, really tough hole to get out of. And that is mixing everything the same way if you're working across a wide range of different types of things. Right? Understanding that there's just different expectations for different things, and things that need to come across as like tender-hearted or emotional or whatever, they cannot be driven the same way that something aggressive and angry can be, obviously. But then the same thing can also, and is also true for things that need to translate for all ages, right? Because the voice is so important. Right? It's like something you learn in parenting. It's like the tone of your voice can make or break the moment with the kid, right? Like you could have the best intentions in the world, and there could be stress in your voice or something, and it just like turns into tears or whatever. So it's like, it's the same exact thing with music, in that if you're pushing something a little too hard or in a direction that it doesn't normally go, there's going to be repercussions for it, right? And if you're in some sort of experimental space, that's fine. But this is not. So I would put this into the category of like Pixar type stuff. This is absolutely stuff that shouldn't be pushed. So I would bring, like in the very beginning where you've got these two instruments dancing. We kind of quickly lose sight of the mallets. The piano becomes kind of dominant. It's all pretty busy. And then there's this other kind of rapid fire element that comes in here. Or no, not rapid fire. Just cuts through. Oh, it's the perks underneath that I was remembering. That's right. Okay, so you do have another rhythmic element that comes in here. So what I'm getting at is there's a few different elements that are kind of close in nature, right? They're close in their voice and they're close in proximity and in timing. And those things can kind of run together for a lot of people, especially in like all age type content. So I would slim this moment down a little bit and pick one hero to kind of sit above the rest. Maybe it's actually the xylophone, right? It's actually a more gentle, or smaller footprint anyway than the piano, right? The piano notes, they're thicker, they ring out longer, it's harder for them to get out of the way. You might want to do a couple of different alternate versions of this and think about what it is that you're trying to express in this moment before you proceed with the mix. If it's cute and dainty, then probably the xylophone. If it's kind of jovial, then maybe the piano, right? You'll kind of have to figure that out. The lufs, which is a measurement of perceived loudness, it's too hot, which means the loudness is too high, which means your limiting is pushed too much. So I'd back off the loudness and keep this in very supportive mode, which means everything's going to feel kind of light, right? Not full force fingers, very light fingers, kind of hitting on the upstroke sort of. Sub bass can be down several dB. This is a song where sub bass should probably never actually be heard, but felt. Like it should feel like there's a reinforcement happening, or like a depth to the music. It shouldn't actually really ever be identified as sub bass, right? Think Pixar. And also, this is just so damn cute. There's a lot of value in this. And then, yeah, just the stuff that I said earlier, just about, learning that every single day is going to be different if you're going to make wide-ranging, sprawling stuff across different categories and genres. All right, let's see here. Do not mix this type of music like electronics music. No, 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 no. Zendremic, strong voice here. Trust yourself when you're mixing. This one feels like some YouTube advice. Dude, that's good advice. Like, that's good feedback. Yeah. Don't listen to these dweebs. All computer-made music is electronic music, says Liv. This is great. Always experiment, indubitably. True. True, true, true. Stephen Acosta. It is you. Yeah. This house is dripping a weird liquid. This is great art for that song title. I have no idea what to expect when I hit this.
Let's give them a bit of a nightmare before we show them.
The journey.
Great idea, right?
Great idea.
Marvelous, fantastic idea, sir.
Repetition will start, soon repetition will start, soon repetition will start. Oh yes, I'm terrified, just like myself when I would walk by houses that I thought were haunted back in 2009. Oh yes, I'm terrified, just like myself when I would walk by houses that I thought were haunted back in 2009. I always bring my billies with me whenever I go in public. I always bring my billies with me whenever I go in public. I always bring my billies with me whenever I go in public. I always bring my billies with me whenever I go in public. Oh yes, I'm terrified, just like myself when I would walk by houses that I thought were haunted back in 2009. Oh yes, nuts and terrified, just like myself. And I would walk by houses that I thought were haunted back in 2009.
Oh, man.
To the dungeon.
Okay, number one, Stephen Acosta, you, my friend, are an artist, and I appreciate what you've just shared here. This video, which was also made entirely by you, apparently, is fantastic, and it is absolutely perfect for the vibe, of course, because you made the vibe and you made the video, so that makes total sense. But seriously, I love that you're actually having fun while you're working, and it really translates, and this is gold. It feels like you had a vision as an idea. You know what I mean? Like you are obviously a full stack artist, my friend. Yeah. Yeah, this is I don't like comparing folks to folks. But I will say that this has I mean, lived throughout Danny Elfman out there, which I would agree with. Like, there's definitely this like kind of childlike energy of like a Danny Elfman, but there's also like I can hear early Beck in here and some other things that you've. Yeah, I'm sure you've been influenced by a great many really, really fantastic artistic minds, because you've got a thing happening here. I want more. I want to hear more of your stuff. You guys, we've reached the end of the queue, and I don't have anything for Steven to fix. I'm just like, I think I just want this one to stay the way that it is. So I feel like it is like a sliver of Nine Inch Nails. I feel like this is a really good foot to end on here, because we got a nice, shiny, perfect one, huh? More, right? Right? Henry Selick is a huge influence on the animation. Ooh, yeah, I can see that. Every Monday, 8 a.m. EST, another episode gets released on the channel. Hey, that's fantastic. Yeah. We're not going to do live streams next week because of the holiday. I've got a kid out of school for the next couple of weeks. I'm going to spend bunches of time with him. But when we come back, we are going to do a few things. We did not get to do our annual watch party that we normally get to do as a group this year, and I am bummed about that. I'm sorry that did not happen. I blame the great poopocalypse catastrophe of 2024 for us missing out on our holiday watch party. So we will sit down and we will watch a movie together, dang it, next year. At the beginning of the year, we will pick a cult classic film, and as we watch it, I will leave markers in Logic as we watch it, and I will go back and I will chop every one of those dialogue samples for us, and I will bring them up to modern standards, damn it. And we will have yet another dialogue pack of hundreds of dialogue samples that nobody else has. Yay. We'll do that. Okay, so we'll do that, and we will also introduce a new streaming schedule, which will probably have to be shaped and molded a little bit. But I'd like to be doing a little bit more with you guys in 2025. You will be old by then, Syndremic. Lewis the Swift. We could do one more, if you've got one. We need a poopocalypse tradition to commemorate the tragedy. Oh my god. Just nothing that actually makes me relive any of it. Oh, they are still out there working. You guys, they're still out there working. I can hear them. They're still out there working. This was such a catastrophe. Such a catastrophe. It's such a huge mess. 30 grand a day. 30,000 US dollars a day. Ooh, an emote. That'd be good. An entire stream of brown noise. Just poop emoji. It's just the poop emoji. Oh yeah, man, when you've got that many individuals, there's like at one point in time there was over 12 people working at once down in this hole, like and around this hole. It's just an enormous amount of resources went into this. An enormous amount of resources. Unbelievable. The sprinkles of poop emoji with brown noise. The whole screen just goes brown for 30 seconds. And now a moment of brown noise in memorandum. Yes, that's awesome. Now we shall all bow our heads and plug our noses. Are we a cult? Are we in a cult? Are we in a cult? Raise your hand if you're wearing the same clothes every week when you show up here. If we're not all wearing the same thing, I don't think we're technically a cult. You guys are like, yeah, I've got the uniform on. Yep. Oh, look at this picture. Oh, now see, this sets some expectations for me. I'm expecting some crate digging gold in this now. Right? Is it unjustified? Sweats and a hoodie. Anybody else? Yeah. Yeah, right. Well, you guys still have no idea whether I even wear pants or not when I stream, so. But the hoodie, yeah. I mean, honestly, wouldn't everyone maybe be a little bit more happy if there wasn't pants involved? Maybe? Not in an inappropriate way, guys. In a comfort way. Yeah, this is awesome. It's got like sneaky appeal. Backing vocal chops up a bit, probably a good like 5-6 dB on those. And then the main pluck down a bit, maybe as much as 5 dB. It cuts through the mix very easily, so I feel like it might be poking out a bit too much on the other side of the master if it's left as is. Super vibey though. Like this is one of those low-key tracks that you're like, when it finishes, you're like, man, that was great. That was great. Like every last little bit of it, head was nodding. That was tight. Yeah. Yeah, the groove on the bass was solid. Touch of saturation on the bass line, just a personal preference though, says Zendremic. I would want the whole thing finished with saturation. I think that this has got a super old school classic house vibe, and I think that it just deserves a saturation finish. So yeah, transitions need a little bit of work, but the structure is there. I like the simplicity of the palette and your stopping points. I think low key is a really good descriptive word for this one. I don't know. Let me just peek at the intro again. Hold on. Yeah, you could shrink that a little bit. You could, not that the intro length is bad right now. I mean, if you're wanting to make it more succinct, I think you could save on energy. Like it could be a little bit more efficient. You could get to the dancing a little bit quicker. 38 seconds in. Yeah, that's it. Uniform prod. There's nobody in the queue. We close the queue. But for you, we'll leave it open for one. And then we'll go. I was just saying goodbye to these guys, but I have not picked out a place for us to go raid yet. So why don't you work on putting something in the queue, and I will figure out who we're going to go raid when we're done listening to you. Just kick this thing here and see who's up. We raided E-Town on the way out on Wednesday, and he had just checked out his year in review, his Twitch year in review, and said we were like the #1 raider of his channel all year. How about that? He was all gushy. Do you think I should change the second drop or keep it the same? What do you think? What is your gut telling you? Your gut's probably telling you that you should change it, right? You are welcome for the feedback. I am glad that it's greatly appreciated. I hope that vibes with you. Oh yeah, Uniform. You could just drop a link right here in the chat. You don't have to do it through Discord. Absolutely. Yeah, that's like Zendremic has a good point. The only way to know for sure is to do it. And then the best way to analyze once you've done it is to take a break and then come back to it and listen out of context, outside of that moment. And it's even better if you can listen to it in an environment that you did not make it in. It helps. Those little those things sound kind of silly, but they do. They matter. Those things add up. Yeah. Might change the pitch or something. Yeah, any kind of variation that's unexpected and catches people is worthy of more plays. Is really what it comes down to, right? It's like this is kind of like the economy or the economics of electronic music making here right now. Like what kind of variations should we include, and what kind of variations would we like to include? The ones that we should include are the ones that get more listens, right? Like there's a reason why people will listen to something 2 times in a row. And when you figure out what that is, that's what you try to do in all your music. Made this today with live instruments, with love mixing tips and arrangement. But this is a demo after all. Normally I make hip hop, but this is reggaeton. Okay. Yeah, exophonic, that makes really good sense, and it's a good habit to be in, just in general, listening to things on different playback devices and in different scenarios, situations. Absolutely. All right, so we're going to listen to this really quick. Oh, and while we're listening to this, I'm also going to go back. We're going to grab the link over here one last time. You guys go grab some free sounds while we're listening to this. If you make weird stuff, you'll like those weird sounds. All right, where am I going here? Going to... Ah, I wasn't done. Get back over here. Get back over here. All right. Uniform. I really like the clarity of the entire mix. It's really good. I'd roll the low end, cut off up to 50 hertz, 12 dB per octave curve. That it might sound drastic. It's really not. It's going to look like this. It's nice and gentle, actually. So it's really only affecting the lowest of the low frequencies. It's just tapping down these frequencies here. Now, it might not be enough. The sub presence in your bass is pretty great. So if when you listen back to this, it feels like it might be just a little bit too thick sounding, take a shelf, which is this guy here, and bring it down somewhere between like 4 and 6 dB, and it'll probably be spot on. Okay, so if the first thing of taking down those extra sub frequencies is not enough, which it probably won't be, then bring in a shelf and drop it somewhere between 60 and 70 hertz is probably a decent spot. And you'll notice that if you look at this resulting area here, this light bluish grayish area, if you look at the impact upon that curve that this shelf has when we toggle it off and on, that's the only impact that it's having on the entirety of your sound. It's a really nice tool to use to shape low end. Bass down a couple decibels, that is. And then the rhythm guitar, the palm mute needs to come down several dB and then move to one side. Right now it's in the middle. It's a little bit louder than the main guitar, or at least it is perceived to be sitting atop the lead guitar because of the percussive nature of it, right? So it needs to be brought down quite a bit and then moved over to one side. Not to the point of feeling like weak or anything, just it needs to be sitting behind the main guitar is all. And then once that is in line, I think this one is done. Right now, the low cutoff is at 30 hertz, but I made a harder cut, like almost a brick wall. Yeah, don't do that. And here's why. The reason why you don't want to do the brick wall, which is like this, is because it affects the phase of things. So if that's really close to the body of the notes of your bass, then it might be just pushing it in a weird way. What I would do is I would make a deeper cut into the frequencies at a lower curve, at a gentler curve. And the reason is because you're gonna cut away at the most labor intensive, energy consuming frequencies pretty slowly with a curve like this, which means you're going to be doing very minimal attenuation to the highest peaks over here to the right. So it's really friendly for the bass. You're going to keep the tonality of your bass, and it's going to not really affect it too much as you're rolling off these lower frequencies over here. There's a greater distance between the frequencies that are being fully cut away in relation to the easiest heard frequencies sitting to the right of them over here. So one more thing you wanted to ask. What is it? Maybe I can make the palm mute a bit wider. Well, you probably won't need to make it any wider once you move it away from center, because it's already going to be on a side. If you feel like it's lacking in some way, what you could do is put in a really slim slapback, like delay on it, which would give you presence on the other side of the stereo spectrum and kind of skip the middle, which would be favorable, right? You could get a little bit more stereo width out of it. That'd probably be a good way to do it. Do you know how on some songs they cut out the 16K and on some 14K, do you do like a brick wall or a high fade? Don't want to make it hearable only on one side though for the palm. Yeah, then do the delay thing for the palm mute, and that will send it to the other channel as well. And then you don't have to worry about it only being on one side. Okay, the question about the high end. Also, I would keep it gentle. You could go up as much as like 18 or 24. I would really recommend keeping it fairly gentle though. And up here, you have quite a bit of wiggle room. If you have a lot of really brilliant sounds, like really brilliant, like high energy sounds that are like high definition, highly detailed, then having frequencies up here present is important. But the large majority of folks do not in their music. And a lot of people actually benefit from having many elements rolled off, upwards of even 10K up high, because it leaves room for the elements that do have that luster up there. The same way that cutting away in all of your tracks down low is helpful to the one track that does have sub-frequencies present. So, yeah. I don't know. Welcome in and happy Friday. What do you think about the song right now? Cut to 1400. I think it's fine. If we go back and we listen to it really briefly in this spot here, you don't have much in the way of presence up there right now. And the difference between like a 12 and a 14K up there isn't really going to be huge for this music. Honestly, it's really not. I think it sounds fine where it is right now. If you were pushing your LUFS harder than you are right now going into a master, I would advise you to roll it down a bit, because it would be too brilliant. It would just be too bright with those noise-based hi-hats, right? Anytime you're using hats that are carved out of white noise, there's extra frequencies up there compared to, like old school hi-hats. So, oh, that's right. Yours was the link. Yours was on here. Sorry about that. Yours was. This is probably the brightest sound in the whole mix. I think 14 is fine. It sounds like you've EQ'd your reverb channels, which is kind of like the biggest worry for me in this type of music. Sorry, I got the tracks confused there. Is just having a little bit too much in the reverb echoes, right? But you don't have any of that here. I think it's fine. Yeah, it's highly dependent on the track for me, from track to track. There's plenty of mine where I roll off a whole bunch of high end intentionally just so it can be muted and sit under everything in a scene. It's a functional thing. Uniform, you are welcome. Really quick before we peace out, let me drop this download link one more time for y'all, just in case any of you have not actually grabbed it yet. Here's some free sounds for you. And let's just click over here and see who's up right now and who we can go say hi to. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. Again, we're not going to do live streams next week. We're going to take some time off for the holidays. We'll be back soon. I will let you guys know ahead of time when we'll be coming back. We'll have our annual watch party when we come back. We'll watch a movie together. It will be great. And we will chop a bunch of dialogue samples from it. And until then, we're going to... Wow, there's a lot of people up today. Wow. There's a lot of people up today. Okay, I'm not sure who we should go. Oh, Kane's going. And he's only been going for 28 seconds. Let's go help Kane Ellis grow his stream today. I appreciate you guys being here. I will see you guys on the other side of this year. And I'm really hoping that 2025 is kinder to all of us than, one, 2024 has been, and two, than we are expecting 2025 to be. Because I know there's a lot of people out there worried about what 2025 is going to bring. And I really hope that is a better year all in all for us in general. That said, I appreciate you guys. It was great spending time with you again. I will see you on the other side of it. Happy Hanukkah, happy Festivus, happy Kwanzaa, Merry Christmas, all of it, regardless of how you celebrate. I hope you do get to celebrate and that you get to spend some time, some downtime with some friends and family. And I love you guys. And I will see you guys on the flip. Oh, and we are unable to raid Kalen Ellis, so he may have just bounced out. So let me just retry this with someone else here. Let's see what they got for us. Why can we not? Let's try raiding him again. I don't want to accept no as an answer. I want to raid you. Oh, we cannot raid him. Okay, let's try raiding someone else. Let's try. Ordo, Aaron. Let's see what Aaron's doing. Put a bunch of synths out right now. All right, we're going to try this. Oh, okay. Twitch is experiencing a problem right now, and we are unable to raid. So, in light of this news, I will now hit play where we left off on this music. And I'll leave you guys with some outro music. Bye, y'all. Oh, and this is going to say be right back instead of stream ending, because this isn't working right either. Bye, guys.